looking at this example here, we're going to need to do this to our drawer. Where the drawer slide is going to go, we're going to need to build out the drawer or the side of the cabinet with a little furring strip to make it so that it sits flush, so our drawer slide has something to be supported on the whole way back. So we're going to need to create the furring strips on both sides of the cabinet for our drawer slides to sit on. Turn this around for you to see it back there. You can see one here, goes all the way to the back of the face frame, just in front of this groove. We don't want to block that groove. I've brought the cabinet width over by our planer, and I'm just going to take a measurement to see how much we need to take off or finish at. This is just slightly below 3/4, and this side is just a little over 3/4. So we're going to stop a little bit above 3/4 of an inch, and then we're going to go to the wide belt sander and finish cleaning these up. So we'll start at the planer, make sure you have the dust system on. We're going to get both sides, try to hit both sides. Don't take it all off one. We want to work that piece down evenly. Okay, so I'm bringing the cabinet with me. I am checking the thickness, how much we have left to take off. We want it a little bit big because the sander is going to give us a better finish on the top edge. So we've got it big. We're going to use the wide belt sander to get them down to size. Once we get close, we're going to come back and check our sizes. We don't want to get too small. That one feels real good right there. One feels good there. All right, next we're going to cut these boards that we just sanded to length. We want to know how deep to cut them or how long to cut them. We're going to have it sit right behind the face frame to the front of that groove. We don't want to be covering that groove at all, because that groove is for the back of the project. And if we cover that, we're going to have a problem getting that in. So I'm going to take my tape measure and measure. We're about 10 3/8 to that line, We know that our drawer slides are only going to be 10 inch anyways, so let's just cut these blocks to 10 inches. So we'll take these to the sliding table saw and cut them to 10 inches. So to ensure that these are square on the end, I'm going to cut a little bit off of one side and then flip it over. Our standard procedure for cutting boards that we don't know if it has a straight edge. We're going to square it up and then flip it over. So our boards are cut. We're going to go figure out which side they go on. We're going to glue them in and attach them. All right, back here at the cabinet, I'm going to verify the fit, make sure I get the right one on the right side. So that one's going to be my left. That one's going to be my right side. Okay. And I'm going to lay this on its side, but I want to protect it from the table. If I take my project and lay it down, I could damage this veneer if there's something on the table, glue or screws or things like that. So you can put a piece of cardboard down. We're going to use these little black mats, kind of anti-slip mats, and put them on the table, and then we're going to set the project on top of that. Just to protect the veneer. All right, we're going to use glue and the nailer to get them in. Now this is a smaller project, so we might have a little difficulty getting the staple gun into this tight quarter, but we'll manage the best we can. We're going to put a little bit of glue on the back of the wood because the glue is what's doing the work. The nails just hold it till the glue dries. Now if these are square, we should be able to take this right up against the back of the face frame and keep that gap tight. If there's no gap there, then that should be square or straight back. And what I'm looking for is the top of this rail to be the same line as the bottom of this board. So they should be kind of right at the same spot. And then I'm going to just take and shoot a couple nails in, or staples in this case. Turn it around so I can get a little bit easier access. And just 2 or 3 nails in each side. Okay, and we can do the same thing. We're going to flip the cabinet over. And now we're going to do the other side. And I'm going to put some glue on that as well. And butt that up to the back of the face frame. And lining up the bottom of the board with the top edge of that piece. Now the other board that's up there gives me a little less clearance, so I have a little bit more difficulty getting my stapler in here. I'm going to keep my hands clear. And just shoot a couple staples in. If you don't get your staples or nails in all the way, you might need to take a nail set and push them down so that when you put the drawer slide on there, they don't stick out and make the drawer slide stick off the project. We're going to be putting on our full extension drawer slide. We're going to take off the front half because that goes on the cabinet. So on the back side, there's a little lever. We're going to just push that lever and the front side will come off. That will give us a little bit more access to some of these screw holes along the back edge. We are also going to take these little guides and attach them to the cabinet. They're going to help give us the right elevation for the drawer slide. And now what this is going to allow me to do is just simply set my drawer slide up there, and it's going to hold it 90 degrees to the front of the face frame. And it's going to make it so I have kind of a third hand there. So I'm going to push it back so that the front of the drawer slide here is about a 32nd of an inch, just a little bit behind the front of the face frame, and I'm going to drive a screw into the front and into the back. I'm going to come back later and put more screws in if I need. We want to make sure this drawer functions correctly before we put all those screws in. Otherwise, if we need to adjust it, the new screws would follow the old screw holes and would not realign. So we're going to be taking the little 5/8 inch long screw, silver colored screw, and driving that in. It doesn't really matter which hole you use. You should have enough clearance to use any of those holes with this screw. So I'm going to get that loaded up and on my drill. And you could pre-drill these if you would like. That's kind of up to you. They're not going in far enough to really crack the material. There, it snugged it up a little bit. Now I'm going to put one in the back. I'm going to turn the project around for easy access to the back side. And I'm going to put one right in there. So I want to keep it down tight against this blue jig. That will help make sure that we're square to the front of the cabinet. And if you have holes that have slots in them, I don't know if you can see this one, but this slotted hole gives you a little bit of adjustment when you put a hole in there or a screw in there. If you put a screw in just the circular hole, there's no adjustment or play for you to adjust that screw. So you'll need to make sure it's in nice and accurate when we start. So we're going to do the other side now. Take my clamp off. I need to get my other sided jig here and line that up on the cabinet. Clamp that in place. And I'm going to dismantle my drawer slide. Again, I'm going to pull it open and find that little black lever and just push that down. Now these drawer slides, it's the same unit on both sides, so you don't have to worry about keeping the part that you pulled out separated for the right or the left. They're both identical. So I'm going to try to get my clearance or my offset here the same on both sides. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but the closer it is, the better your drawer will operate. I'm going to turn the cabinet around, and we're going to do this back screw. Okay, so now we have our drawer slides mounted to the cabinet. You can pull this off. We're done with that. That's all on there nice and supported. Now we don't need clearance to those screw holes anymore, so I can go ahead and slide these back on. And just pull them out, make sure they're locked in place. Okay, I'm going to put my blue jigs back on. This time I'm turning them around so that they hang off the front of the cabinet. And I'm going to need two of them at the same time. So I'm going to get my other face frame clamp. I have a second one ready to go. And I'm going to pull these slides out. And I'm going to set my drawer on top of those blue jigs. And now I'm going to simply just screw this on. I'm going to make sure it's butt up nice tight against the back of the face frame and put a couple screws in. Again, I'm just doing a couple screws until we make sure everything's correct so that we have extra screw holes if we need to change something. So put one at the back or the front, and you'll have to look through the holes here to get to the back side. Okay, I'm going to turn the cabinet around and do the other side. And now we can take our blue jigs off. And test our drawer. Make sure that it shuts and opens freely. Looks good. A little bit tiny of a gap here. Not too much. I'm not concerned about that little bit. That could be from our back edge sanding there. Looks pretty good for that function of the drawer. These slides tend to get better the more they use them. It takes a little bit to break them in for these full extension slides. So the more you use it and operate it, the better it should get, but you should have a nice sliding drawer when you're done. The big key to the drawer is making sure you leave a ½ inch on each side clearance for drawer slides. Now that we've made sure it works correctly, it looks like it's lining up to the face frame good, we're gonna just go back and fill some extra screw holes here, make sure that it's in there nice and sturdy. And we're going to lay the cabinet down again. And I'm going to come in here and just add a couple more screws to the cabinet side of the rail. Now that we made sure everything floats and rolls correctly.